Look and see if it's working. See if it's on record. Is it recording?
Yeah.
A little red dot. Hey! How y'all doing out there in Orlando, wherever you live? Alright, out in the world. So, man, it's good to see y'all. Y'all sing good? You look good? It's good to be seen. Invisibility clothes are not all they've ever been made up to be. It's not as fun as it looks to be invisible. So, I'm back to talk about your DNA. Everybody said, righto, Billy.
Righto.
Righto, Billy. Your divine, natural assignment. I think if there's anything we should get hold of, could get hold of, it would behoove us to get hold of, it would bless us to understand, is that we have a divine, natural assignment. That's your DNA. If I was writing on that board, I just put big DNA. This is how you were wired by God. You were wired with a destiny. You were wired with purpose. And it's, I call it your prophetic assignment or your divine natural assignment. It's nice that we say divine natural. How many know this? What you become in life is not all about divine plan. It takes some natural mix with it. There's a free will, there's preparation, there's yieldedness, there's all kinds of stuff that goes in to the divinity and the naturalness of our, Jesus, it's kind of interesting, Jesus was he's described as the God-man. I mean, he's all God and all man at the same time, which my brain just goes, can't get it, sorry. I mean, that's, it's something you hear with your ears and your heart says, sure, and your brain goes, okay, no, I don't even understand how you can be all God and all man at the same time. But we are created in His image, and so if we really understand things, we're a little bit all God and all man. Really. We're all God in that we are the gift of God. We are formed in the womb by the hand of God. We are given that impartation of the breath of God, which is when we take that first breath, the Bible says we become a living soul. And so there's a God factor in my existence. Somebody say, yeah. There's a God factor in my existence. And there's a natural factor in my existence. All in favor say aye. Aye. So last week we talked about, and I won't go through this whole thing because I preached it good last time, so I won't preach it again. We talked about prophecy, and the number 18 on the list of 100 greatest ad campaigns was be all that you can be in the Army. And everybody say, be all you can be.
Be all you can be.
That's our goal in life, is be all that you can be. I don't know what you can be. I don't even know what I can be, but I just want to make a commitment to be all that I can be. Because God has purposed me in this earth to be significant. Everybody say, every vessel.
Every vessel.
Significant.
Significant.
Filled with the glory of God.
Filled with the glory of God.
Oh, you ought to memorize that. Every vessel. Significant. Filled with the glory of God. Amen? All right, so, and I started off this whole thing, and I'm going to review it in like 2 minutes. The basic presupposition is it's impossible for God to create anything without purpose. Doesn't even make sense. If God's God, He cannot possibly create randomly with no purpose. Doesn't? So look at yourself and say, hey you.
Hey you.
Point a finger right in your own chair. Hey you.
Hey you.
You are not an accident.
You are not an accident.
You are here on purpose.
You are here on
For purpose.
For purpose.
With purpose.
With purpose.
It's impossible for God to make something without purpose. You just got to get that in your heart and head. That's a fact. All right. So that was, and we talked about God's will for you as your prophetic assignment. Prophetic assignment. And we started talking about prophetic first, and we preached this whole definition of nabal, which is to prophesy. And we said to prophesy is to speak or to sing by inspiration. That means God breath. That means something of the God stuff inside of you excited your inner man, and you saw something different, and you began to speak to it or sing to it. And everybody say, yeah. That means you can sing prophetically, and we talked about how it's very possible that every song that's ever been written was intended to be prophetic. Woo. And we talked about, you picked a fine time to leave me, Lucy. 400 children a crop in the field. I've seen some bad times, been through some sad times, but this time the hurt won't heal. You picked a fine time to leave me, Lucille. And Donna had asked the Lord one day, said, what's the saddest song you ever wrote? He said, you picked a fine time to leave me, Lucille. He was talking about Satan falling from heaven. And he said, man, that would hurt. I had a whole world out there. We were going to work together, see something exciting happen. And there you go. I said, that one. Crop in the field. 4 hungry children, the 4 ends of the earth. Anyway, so then she said, so we talked about how many times the Lord will speak to your internal wiring and purpose, your prophetic destiny, by giving you songs. How many got songs that made you tick? I mean, they just spoke to your inner man, and you realize, I don't understand exactly why I love that song so much, but there's something to it. And I'll just give you one more song just for fun. My Love Does It Good. Y'all remember that song, Paul McCartney?
Wings, yeah. Paul McCartney and Wings.
Paul McCartney and Wings says, my love does it good. And when the cupboard's bare, there's always something there with my love. It's understood everywhere with my love. My love does it. That was one of our songs that the Lord sang to Donna when we were about to go into a real faith walk. I was leaving a nice job at the telephone company and decided to go to graduate school. I did not have much or no money at all. And all we had was believe God for the miraculous. And we had our 2 kids, and we got out of a truck, and the Lord sang that song to Donna, and she said, we're going to be okay. Everything with my love is understood. When the cupboard's bare, there's always something there with my love. And I remember I was riding in the truck one day. I had all the furniture in the back of the truck. I was riding, and I thought, dear God, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be okay? He said, yes, I am. And so he's got funny with me. So he said, yes, I am. In other words, I am that I am. I got it all covered. You don't have to worry about it, Bill. So, all that to say, let's go to the second part of something being prophetic. And I thought we would just quickly go through a few scriptures. Since I don't do the scriptures very often, I thought I'd go straight to them this time. Freak you all out. All right. I think somewhere in the Bible it says Jesus is our example, our forerunner, the first fruit of many brethren. He's our example. He's the sample of the whole group, and he is. And I look at him and I think how interesting that prophetically. The angel came and said, what shall we name this guy? They said, he shall be called Emmanuel, God with us. For he shall save his people from their sins. Everybody said, amen. That's what we call a prophetic destiny. That's what we call a prophetic assignment. It was wrapped up in his name. I like names because I feel like they carry prophetic weight.
Yes.
I think it's odd to just randomly name your child. You don't get many opportunities to put an imprint and label something and say, I want you to live into this. And I think it's really exciting that when God looked at Jesus coming, he said, he'll be known as Emmanuel, God with us. That was part of the prophetic, but the assignment part of it is always tagged with it. Everybody say, assignment comes with it.
Assignment comes with it.
And it's not just enough to be, it's a be with a purpose. We have to be with a purpose. That's for us individually and us as a church. We have to exist not for the sake of existing, but to exist with a purpose. All right? And so when we see Jesus, He is Emmanuel, God with us, and the angel said, this is why we're going to call Him that. For He shall save His people from their sins. All right, so Jesus being the forerunner, let's take a look at, Lord, we praise You. Let's go to Psalm 139 first. And I'm just going to spin through these kind of quickly. Everybody said, right. Bill's known to spin quickly. Psalm 139, 13. See if I can find it. See if I got it in my Bible. I think I do. Gotta be careful where you buy your Bibles these days. This is an old one, so it's got all this stuff in it. Great scripture. Psalm 139. O Lord, Thou hast searched me and known me. Thou hast known my down sitting, my uprising, my understanding, all my thoughts from afar off. You compassed my path, my lying down. You're acquainted with all my ways. There's not a word in my tongue but that Thou knowest it altogether. I'll get here in just a second. Thou hast beset me. You're behind me and before me. You're befront me and behind me. And said, such knowledge is too wonderful for me. Everybody said, Yeah, I like that. Whither shall I go from Thy Spirit? If I flee from Thy presence, if I ascend above into heaven, You're there. If I make my bed in hell, You're there. If I take wings in the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there Your hand leads me and Your right hand holds me. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me. And why am I reading all this? Because I want you to understand what I'm about to tell you doesn't just apply to Christians. Everybody said, What I'm about to tell you is not exclusive to the Christians.
Right.
Seems like we sometimes get the idea that because we're on the inside, we got it, that all these scriptures only apply to us now. Oh, whither shall I go from Thy presence? If I go this way, You're there. If I go to hell, You're there. Guess what? I ain't going to hell. And so, obviously, this scripture is meant for somebody else. It's if I make my bed in hell, You're there. If I go to the heavens, if I go to the depths of the sea, You're there. Look at somebody say, He's everywhere.
He's everywhere.
And He has a plan for everybody.
Yes.
Everybody. He got a plan for everybody. And part of being born again, man, this is good. Part of being born again is awakening to His plan for everybody. And that you have now seen yourself in the plan of God. That's what being born again is all about. Is awakening to the love of God, the purpose of God, the plan of God, the intention of God, the salvation of God in Jesus. That's what it's about.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's not just to escape hell, it's to get a sense that God has been with me from the beginning. Even when I was a heathen, God was with me. How many know that for sure? If you have been transitioned from unaware to aware of God's presence, and you have received that desire and acknowledged Him and confessed, I want to be in the will of God. Yes. If you're there, you know God was with you even when you were out there.
Yes.
Is everybody with me on that? Does anybody not believe that? God is with you out there. That means if He's with you out there, He's with all the rest of those heathens too. Because they're really only marginally heathen. They're only heathen when you look at it through our skewed little eyes. There is heathen. But anyway, I'll go on with this. He says, whither shall I go from Your Spirit? Whither shall I flee? Etc., etc. And if I get down to verse 12, it says, yea, darkness hides not from Thee. The night shines as the day. The darkness and the light are both alike to Thee. Lord, have mercy. If you don't love that. I mean, this is not where I can tell you to go, watch this. People say, You know, God can't look at sin. God won't look at the sinner, can't hear a sinner's prayer. I'm like, in what universe are you living in? Of course God can look upon sin. He does it every day. If He didn't, He would be not much of a God, because He got to look at sin, because that's who we are. He's got to listen to even prayers of sinners. Anyway, I'm going to keep going. So, this is where I was heading, isn't it? I says in verse 14, I will praise Thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are Thy works, and that my soul knows right well. My substance was not hidden from Thee when I was made or formed in secret, and curiously wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. Your eyes saw my substance before yet being imperfect. Everybody said, right, got it. And He says, in Thy book all my members were written, which in continuous were fashioned, which as yet there were none of them. How precious also are Thy thoughts unto me, O God. How great is the sum of them. Now I'm going to try and be all cool and everything, but my question to you is this. God looks and says, this guy had a revelation. I reckon it was David. Yep, it's on David. He said, from everything I can figure, You began forming me in the womb. You spoke me out into existence and then spoke me into this womb. And in this womb I was taking shape. And He said, even when I was imperfect in my ways, You knew me. And this is the most beautiful part. When it all wraps up, He says, how precious are Thy thoughts toward me, O God. That makes me want to run around naked. Or just run around. I thought maybe they could just a few times. It is so easy to get lied to about the devil, about the thoughts he has toward us. That somehow Papa God is disappointed in you. I'm disappointed in you. I ain't got nothing good to say to you today. That is just the craziest mess I've ever heard. Papa God, David said, how precious are Thy thoughts toward me, O God. How great is the sum of them. I say all this just to say this. We do not live in a day when the word of the Lord is rare. We don't have to. The prophetic word should be as common as standing up in the morning. Everybody says, wow. Well, it wouldn't be special then. I don't believe that. He says, how precious are Thy thoughts toward me, O God. How great are the sum of them. In another place, if I tried to number them, they would be more than the number of all the saints. That's how. We don't need to run out of DNA encouragement. That's all I'm saying. We don't have to run out and say, I don't know if God likes me anymore. I don't know. It's just hard to get up and go after. It's life. That's just... No. All I have to do is just sit for one moment and let God say something good to me. And if it ain't good, guess what it is? It's the devil's lie. That's all I've got to say. God has many precious thoughts for you.
Yes.
All right. Let's go to, just for fun, We'll go to Psalm 40. 6, 7, 8. Here we go. I just want to convince you that your DNA is prophetic. It's one thing to understand that you're wired a certain way and that God has given certain gifts and callings and purpose, certain plans, certain joys that lie before you. That's part of God's plan for you. The nice thing, though, is it is prophetic. It's prophetic. Your assignment is prophetic. So, in verse 40, verse 6, it says, now let's go to 4. Yeah, 40, verse 4, I'll start with. Blessed is the man that makes the Lord his trust and respects not the proud, nor such as turn aside the lies. Many, everybody say many, O Lord my God, are thy wonderful works which thou hast done, and thy thoughts which are to usward, they cannot be ordered or reckoned up in order unto thee. And I would declare and speak of them, they are more in number than can be numbered. Sacrifice and offering thou didst not desire. See how he kind of already said just what we were talking about in verse 139. He said, sacrifice and offering you did not desire. Mine ears thou hast opened. Everybody say, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we've been praying for. The eyes of our understanding being enlightened, the ears to be open so that we can hear. It says, then I said, lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me, I delight to do thy will, O God. And yes, your law is within my heart. That shows up again later in Hebrews as a reference as Jesus saying. But here, it's David saying. He's basically saying, there's something about me that I perceive to have been written in a book. Everybody said, what?
Yeah.
God has a book. I don't understand what that means. I don't know where the book is. In Revelation, it's kind of weird. It talks about who is worthy to open the scroll. I'm like, I don't know. We know the Lamb is worthy, but I don't understand all of it. And I can say this pretty assuredly. I think that the will of God has a lot of variations in the theme. I mean, there's a lot of natural in this divine natural assignment. And every decision doesn't have to be perfect. Because God, He's a pretty smart fellow. He's a pretty smart fellow. If He knew me ahead of time, He probably knew the bad choices. And He said, yeah, I got that. I can even work with that. And yes, I saw that too, that you would do that, but you know, I got that. And there's enough grace to accommodate my free will. Everybody said, I don't even understand what that means. But there's enough grace to accommodate my free will. I'm going to go to the last one. Go to Jeremiah 1. And I might just preach this for a second. I might preach 2 or 3 words out of it, then I'm going to quit. Jeremiah 1. It talks about, 1 through 4, it talks about how He's ended several folks and how his prophetic ministry went across several different kings' times. And then in verse 4 it says, the word of the Lord came to me, saying, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before you came out of the womb, I sanctified thee and ordained thee a prophet. I'm going to, if you'll let me, I'm just going to go to my little Bible helps here in the Old Testament. And I'm going to look at the word, before I formed thee. It's the Hebrew Strong's reference number 335. So I was looking at these the other day and I got all fired up. 33:35 is, this, and check this out. This is God saying, I saw you and I formed you. Okay? Form is probably identical with 33:34. It means to form, to fashion, to devise, to frame, to produce, to create, to be formed or fashioned, to exist, to be predestined. The word implies initiation as well as structure. It's like a potter or a creator. The narrowness or distressing situation is similar to the squeezing or molding. In other words, you say, look, I started this thing, I finished this thing. I'm the beginning and the end. I initiate and I craft this thing. I don't know if that's comforting to you, but it is to me. It's nice to know I didn't start this thing.
Yeah.
I'm not responsible for this whole thing. Everybody say, what? I didn't start this thing. He did. He is the initiator and the construction guy. He's the one who does the forming, the pressing, the pushing, the squeezing. Everybody says squeezing.
Squeezing.
Yeah, I felt the squeezing before. I've been in the squeezing part. I've been in the construction phase, and I understand. I didn't start it. I just have to roll with it. Everybody say, roll with it. Yeah, that's all. I just have to roll with it. If I want everything to work out, just roll with it. Because God's doing something. He's the guy with the plan, not me. All I can do is try to get in sync with His plan and realize, wow, not only have my life experiences prepared me for today, my very wiring, my parents, the place I came into the earth, where I was born, all those things played into who I am today, and God started it, He's working it out, and everything's going to be fine. So check this. And I thought to myself, so He began to initiate and form us in the belly, and He said, in the belly I knew thee. And I thought, I don't see how you can know me in the belly, but you're going to like this one. 30:45. Anybody ever heard somebody say yada yada yada?
Yeah, got it.
That's the word. To yada. He knew me. To perceive, to understand, to acquire knowledge, to know, to discern, to be acquainted with a woman in a sexual way, to be known, to make oneself known, to cause to know, to be familiar, to be aware of, to appear, to inform, to announce, and to reveal oneself. He says, I knew you. I knew you before you got here. And I don't mind announcing you. Anybody ever had a coming out party? One of those things from the old days with a debutante.
Yeah.
How many debutantes do we have? Me. I did want to be a debutante. It's the dress. It's the whole swishing.
That's for one.
No, I didn't. But I did have a coming out party. It's kind of interesting. He said, I made you in the womb. And I knew you. I knew you intimately. I know everything about you. I know how you think. I know how you're going to think. I know everything that ticks in you. And I don't mind announcing your coming out party. I got a baby granddaughter coming in about a month, less than a month, maybe about 3 weeks. They're having a big shower today and all that kind of stuff. And to think, God says, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to announce the coming out party of Alia June Bird. Oh, I know. Santoyo. Santoyo. This is a bird to me. She didn't marry a guy, so I guess he's got something to do with it. He's a part of it. I'll yield that. But a great coming out party. I'm going to just draw a quick parallel between us and Jesus again. How many know a lot about Jesus' birth was prophesied historically in the Word? Lots of stuff. And we think he's the only one who ever had anything prophesied about his birth. But the truth of the matter is, your birth is just as prophetic as Jesus'. And I said, what? Nobody, I didn't get any angels or anything. I said, you don't know that.
That's true.
You don't know if angels sang at your birth. You just know that there weren't any shepherds that they were revealed to who came and said, wow, God was announcing your coming out party. Pretty exciting. We don't know whether angels sang. We don't know what miracles attended our birth.
That's true.
But God says, I knew you in the womb. I fashioned you and formed you. And I announced you're coming out party. Because I've got plans for you. Me and you and the rest of this crew are going to do some things that will be good for the earth. Somebody say good for the earth. Yeah. We're going to do people good. We're going to make a difference and make things more better. We're going to work with the kingdom. I'll just say my last thing. I sanctified and ordained you. I sanctified you. What's the word for sanctified? Kadosh. To set apart. I'm going to have to read this one to you, and then I'm going to be through, I promise. I sanctified the 6942 in the Hebrew. Strong's Concordance references 6942 for those of you who got your Strong's Concordance out. 6942. Check this. Kadesh. To be clean. This is just me. I'm the one talking. I know there are people who believe that some people come out of the womb destined for hell, and some people come out destined for heaven. That's the craziest thing I ever heard in my life. Okay? Alright, enough said. If God makes real people with real feelings and says, you, hell, you, heaven, you, hell, you, heaven, then I do not understand God. Okay? I ain't going any further than that. I'm just saying. This Bible says, this guy, Jeremiah, when he was formed and fashioned in the womb, God sanctified him. And so when his coming out party came, he was to be clean, to make clean, to pronounce clean. Everybody say pronounce. Woo! Shut up. Things don't get clean without talking to them. You have the power. The Bible says our meals are sanctified by the Word of God. If you pray over your food to thank God for it and cleanse it and sanctify it, how much more can our words speak cleansing and sanctification and holiness and purpose and intention and joy and revelation into another person's life, into a city, into a school? How much more can the power of declaration? Sanctification isn't a waving of a wand. God said He makes them clean. He created, this is great. He says to be clean, to make clean, to pronounce clean, ceremonial or morally, to hallow, to dedicate, to consecrate, to declare as holy, to treat as holy. Guess what? God says, if you want something to be holy, treat it as holy. Don't talk about it. Treat it holy. If we have parents who want their kids to be fulfilled in the plan of God, you can speak to them. You can declare it in secret. You can declare it openly. You can declare it, but treat it holy. Don't treat it as profane. It's just a matter of time before there's an awakening to see more of what God's doing anyway. So, to be selected, to be pure, to be holy, to be sacred, to be regarded as holy. Lord have mercy. I ain't going any further. So, I ordained thee. And here's the assignment part. For this guy, he said, God formed me in the womb. He knew me in the womb. He sanctified me in the womb. And he said, to ordain you as a prophet to the nations. Everybody say, good. There's a guy who had a grip on his DNA. You got it? Jeremiah is a great example of a guy who got it. He said, God knew me, wrote about me in a book. He formed me in my belly. He sanctified me before I even came out. He announced my forthcoming, and he said he ordained. If you look up that word ordained, it means gave. There's a guy who said, I perceive that I am a gift. Well, y'all just point right at, just look right at yourself and say, you are a real gift. Tell yourself, you are a real gift. Tell the person beside you, you, Scotty, are a real gift. Jane, you're a real gift. You're a real gift. To who? To the nations. Jeremiah said, I perceived this. I didn't come out by accident. I came out as a gift. That doesn't mean you get to strut around like a peacock. But it sure means one thing. It's a more fun life. When I perceived that God was in this from the beginning. He formed me, fashioned me, ordained me, sanctified me, and gave me as a gift. Which will take us to our assignment teaching next week. How do you know what your assignment is? How do we find what we're made for? Jeremiah found out he was a gift given as a prophet to the nations. Then he said, Lord God, behold, I cannot speak for I'm a child, etc., etc. Get into that. All right, I've unloaded everything I got. Hang on. I'll figure out how to stop this. How to wrap it up. I want to see if this turns it off.